Coach Henry here.
How y'all doing? Good. Far away? No Harlem.
Secondary struggle a little bit.
Ooh, to say the least.
What were some of the issues you saw?
Oh man, it was a combination of a couple of just MEs, guys not doing their job, right? Yeah, it was just fundamentally right, missing key tackles, just bad football, man. Just things we preach on and harp on. You know, I felt like going into the game, that's probably one of the smaller game plans I've ever had. You know, so from a mental standpoint, because all the stuff we had been running, I felt good with it. You know, obviously on the outside, number one to do, right? Trying to find ways to get Taz some help earlier, but just things we can't have. You know, and so you saw some guys go in that you probably wouldn't normally see, just because, you know, I think when you're in a game like that you need to win, the last thing I want to do is wait till the game over to try to figure out the problem. You know, and so I've told all the young guys in our room, especially in our secondary, man, like you need to operate and function like it's 4th and 1 every play. You know what I'm saying? And so if there's a comfort level because you've been starting 8-9 games, you need to get that out your system. You know, because nobody, at least on the back end, nobody has really garnered that. You know what I'm saying? So it was obviously unfortunate that we had lost Taz, but at the end of the day, you know, outside of the one-on-one catches, right? Like things like that happen, right? It's the game of football. They're on scholarship as well, but it's just some things that I can't live with, you know, in terms of mental errors and just flat out bust, you know. And so we got to correct it on Sunday. You know, I call it Tell the Truth Sunday. You can be real and transparent with our guys. You know, we have really good relationships, and some of those conversations were hard, but they were needed. You know, and I'm glad it happened. It's good that it happened to us and we won the game. It's a lot harder than losing it, you know. And so I looked up one time, I saw Toby out there, I saw Jaheim Clark, I saw Mac Mercedes. I mean, there's a whole youth movement on the back end, and unfortunately, a lot of those guys got to learn by some trial and error and get some lumps, and you hopefully that next time around they're that much better.
What happened on the final touchdown pass? It looked like there was maybe a little bit of miscommunication.
100%. That solely falls on me. You know, we had preached in the off season, you know, if a guy is banged up or injured or something wrong, go down, right? Don't go down. You know, and I think sometimes like just players in general, right? It's a pride thing. You know, they're trying to fight through a play and they're trying to work through the next play, and it's like that doesn't help us. You know, and so again, it's always a learning moment. You know, like that's an opportunity. If a guy's hurt, we're trying to get him off the field. Better yet, tell him to go down. If a guy's hurt, right, or dinged up in any capacity, whether it's some with your head, some with your leg, go down so we can at least make subs, right? And we don't try to use the notion of just guys just going down for their own good. Like I don't operate like that. You know, a guy has to be seriously injured or seriously hurt for him to go down. But if that occurs, right, don't try to be a tough guy, you know. And so that's a learned experience, right? It's happened a couple times, and right, it just happened with different guys. And on Saturday, it happened to be T. Schrain. We were trying to get him out or have him go down because he was banged up. Something was wrong. It was clear and apparent that something was wrong, and I was trying to help the kid. You know what I'm saying? So he wouldn't be put in that position. Obviously, he ended up scoring a touchdown on it. Right, but that solely falls on me. That ain't on nobody else but myself, right? I have to be better in those moments, and I got to help our players be better.
How did Mac Mercedes grade out for this game, and do you see a role for him in these last 2 games?
Yeah, I mean, so the cool thing with Mac, you know, Mac has done things throughout the course of the last couple of weeks that make you scratch your head as a coach. You know, I know you guys had a chance to see him have that interception. He had a play in practice on Thursday, right, where he rolled down in the coverage, read the quarterback, and he picked the ball off with one hand. It was ridiculous, right? And he had a play on Wednesday where he was tracking the quarterback and read his eyes and picked the ball off in the alley. And he's just subtly continued to do things every week, you know, that you see flash, and as a coach, it's hard to ignore that, you know. And I told the whole room, you know, like, I kind of singled him out. Like I said, dude, your opportunity hasn't came yet on the defensive side of the ball, but it's going to come. And I guarantee you you're going to be ready. I guarantee you. And it just so happened, right? Like, he got thrown into the fire in the game, you know. We had a couple of busts on the back end, a couple of egregious missed tackles. And I'm trying to spark a fire under some guys. And he just had that look in his eye, man. Like that same look he had when I went to recruit him and I watched him play basketball. You know, the same look he had in high school, the same look he had when he was playing baseball. He was ready, and I put him out there. He didn't bat an eye, and he was running around. And you know, he wasn't perfect by no means, but you know, he graded out pretty solid for a guy that, you know, he was a backup for us that didn't really expect to play. But when his number was called, he stepped in there, and that play that he made on that deep ball, you know, that's what you want from your middle of the field defender. You know, we were trying to do some things and helping some of the guys, especially number one. You know, and he was kind of toying with it a little bit, like I wanted him to, and he just read the quarterback, and he got a break from the far hash outside the numbers. It was beautiful, man, and that's just a sign of what that kid is capable of. And I encourage him, and I encourage the rest of the room, like you guys, some of you guys made plays today, some of you guys didn't play as well today. Why? Right? Like, we can dial up the perfect call, put you in the best position. Why didn't you wrap up on that tackle? Right? Why didn't you run your feet right? Why weren't your eyes in the right spot? Why, when we're in cover two, you're not doing your job and being a half-field player as opposed to doing something else? You know, and so at the end of the day, like, and coaches kind of alluded to this, you know, going into these last couple of weeks, whoever can give us the best chance to win. Like, I'm not concerned about egos. Whoever gives us the best chance to win, fellas, that's who y'all gonna see out there playing. And I just felt in that moment that Matt gave us the best chance, and he went out there and did some really, really good things.
Aaron, can you give us any insight on the conversations with Taz Sunday? Just, it seemed like the frustration was continuing to build right up until he got ejected.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. You know, like, obviously Taz is a very, very passionate player. You know what I'm saying? He plays a little on edge. That's what you love about him. But you know, there are some things that he just can't do, right? And whether it happened, whether it didn't happen, it was kind of, you know, your ref said something, he said something. Obviously, he ultimately ended up being ejected. Yeah, I had a conversation with Taz in detail. I won't go into a full discussion of that conversation, but it's at the end of the day, it's not about Taz. It's about the team, right? And when you're in those moments, like Taz has to understand how that affects the whole team, because Taz went out, right? That we had to put Tyler in a position where he wasn't in, you know, and so that it matriculated and affected ultimately, right? We ended up winning the game, but it affected guys that happened to be on the field in the crunch time of that game, when truthfully Taz would have been out there. And so he's gonna learn from it. He's learned from it, and we just had to have a man-to-man real conversation. You know, just in general, right? Obviously, he had his thoughts and what he know he didn't do, and the ref felt different, you know. And so, I can tell you this: we don't coach our guys to operate like that. Like that ain't how I do things. That ain't how nobody on our staff does things. And just know if I ever see a player do some of that caliber, he won't play for me, because that is unacceptable, you know. And Taz knows that. Taz knows that, and so he said he did it, and so it's a back and forth thing, and you hope that they learn from those kind of moments, and more importantly, that the young guys learn from those kind of moments. But we had some real conversations, and me and Taz have a tremendous relationship, and so I know he'll be better from on the back end.
Obviously, it's a huge challenge to replace the guys you had to replace in the secondary. What's been the challenge that you just say about it 10 weeks in?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest challenge is, right, like from last year to this year, you guys are seeing it, right? We're playing with pros in the secondary, right, last year, so it made everything a little easier. And this year is just a tad bit different, because it's a lot of youth back here. It's a lot of growing pains and things you got to work through, but just trying to put these guys in position to have the ultimate success. And it may not be as pretty as it was last year, but I think if you do what you're capable of doing consistently, ultimately you're gonna be able to have that kind of success. And that's a part of growing pains, right? Like, even prior to us getting here, those same guys that got drafted, they went through a lot of those growing pains. We just happened to get them on the back end, and we were in a new system, and they happened to pick it up pretty fast, and they were already pretty polished and experienced. And so we're kind of doing that all over again with a younger set of dudes. And I tell you this, right? They're going to be that much better this time next year than they are now. And you know, my head coach used to tell me all the time, experience is the best teacher, right? It's some moments that are very, very hard replicate in practices. So you need them to be thrown into the fire in the game, and hopefully they come up big for us. And it's really good when you come up with a win because you can teach them those moments. Do I want to give up 45 points? Hell no, I don't. Right? I had a sick feeling in my stomach, but you know, I think at the end of the day, you know, you're able to show the guys the tape and really like detail. Okay, well, why did this happen? Right? Like, and we have to get this correct, because if we don't, right, now we're living in this, and this ain't what we want to be. Right? Everybody talks about being great, but it's one thing to say it, it's another thing to do it. So it's a daily challenge to them. Every single day. I'm specifically speaking to the guys in the back end, you know, because like every team, right? Like teams aren't gonna. If I'm not running the ball against what we got up front, man, like I'm just not. You know, like we got some freak shows up front. I'm gonna throw the ball, and so I think they knew that going into the game, and it was a personal challenge. And hopefully, we can be way better this week than we were last week.
What do you see out of Iowa offensively?
Iowa is Iowa, man. Iowa's been doing the same thing from when I was in college. But I tell you, like it's consistent and it's really good. It fits their system, fits their scheme. They play really good complementary football. I took an official visit to Iowa, right? Funny enough, and they do what they do, man. They have really good players. They have a really good system. Coach Ferentz has done a tremendous job. All right, Coach Park on the defensive side of the ball. He's been there forever. He's done. I mean, they're going to play sound gap integrity football, right? They're going to chew the clock up. You may play like 50 plays in the game, and a third of those are going to be runs, and then they're going to catch you when you're sleeping and try to throw the ball over your head, man. And so, like this week is really about having good eyes and being disciplined to your responsibility, you know, because right, they're block, and all of a sudden you see a tight end specifically wide open up the seam, and nobody's covering them. But I think it's a testament to their program and just their history. They've always done a tremendous job. I mean, they're consistently winning 7, 8, sometimes 9 games annually just because they play really good complementary football. They do a really good job, obviously, on the recruiting trail and what they want in their program. And it's a testament to their head coach, to be completely honest with you. And I think at the end of the day, right, this game is going to boil down to, right, who can be consistent, right? Obviously, last year's score was 9-6, and it may be a tight, very tight, low-scoring game early on, right? You get to the end of the game, it's who can be consistent and do their job, right, and execute at a really high level when the game's on the line.
What are some of the challenges getting pressure when your best players facing double and triple teams?
Yeah.
Just about every play.
Well, I think some of the challenges are, that means if somebody's being double or triple, somebody else is free, right? And so using, in terms of scouting the opponents, just being very distinct when you want to pressure and when you don't want to pressure, right? Every play doesn't call for pressure, but what areas of the field can you pressure, and are there good pressures? And so just continually, you know, whether it's the last game or a game like Iowa, you know, I think a game like this, you just got to play sound football and have good gap integrity, you know, and opportunities are going to come up, whether it's a punch on the ball or a tip ball in the air, you know, and to get an interception, you have to capitalize on those moments. You know, this is probably not going to be for the average college football viewer, right? Like, it may not. I told our players, like, don't get bored, right? Because I think just naturally, right, you get a team just running the ball, people can get bored, but as soon as you get bored, that's when they're going to come out throwing that thing, and we all have to be on our P's and Q's and execute at a really high level.
Coach, I knew you're dealing with the defense during the game, but what do you think of John Paddock, just from a defense coordinator perspective?
That brother's lights out, man. Good for him. So happy for that young man. Like, anytime any one of our players have success, especially on the offensive side of the ball, you know, we try to praise him. But anytime, I mean, that dude went out there and broke a school record, and it's awesome. Good for him. Good for his. I mean, he obviously has a family history here, and so it was really cool to see. And just I saw the interview on the back end, man. Like that's what you want. Like when you talk about a college football story, you see something like that. It was really awesome, and obviously I gave him a big hug after the game. You know, the way he ended that last drive in overtime, and the way he kept the play alive, and I mean, it was really cool to see for him. I'm happy for his success.
Just to follow up from Doug a little bit, how would you evaluate the pressure you're getting in the non-Johnny Newton category?
It's obviously different when Johnny's in as opposed to when Johnny's not in, but you know, I think that just from a holistic standpoint, right? Teams are obviously focusing in a little more on Johnny and in between trying to bring more pressure and play a little bit more coverage, because on some of the pressures we may not be getting as much penetration, you know, or sacking guys in the backfield. You know, it's kind of like a happy medium. You got to try to find that balance. And I know at the end of the day, what I don't want to happen or I don't want to occur is the high risk of bringing pressure and there's a not really a reward from it because they can pick it up. And so just trying to put our guys in an advantageous position to continuing to play snaps, right, and keeping that ball out of the end zone. And so we may not be as disruptive as a defense when Johnny isn't in, right? I mean, he's a special player for a reason, right? Like when Spoon wasn't in, we just were different on the back end, you know. And so I just think you try to manipulate things and put other guys in positions to not really make up for what Johnny's doing, but to kind of supplement it a little bit, and you hope that some other guys will step up into the roles and be really, really crucial and critical for you.
Thanks, Coach.
Appreciate you guys.
Awesome.